Let's move on now to the Houston Texans in our 2023 final offseason review. But before we do that, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and also ring that bell to get notified when we create new Houston Texans content. This is the last series of the 2023 offseason before we then start turning into the previewing of the 2023 NFL season. So there's going to be a lot more content. So be sure to ring that bell and subscribe so you can see when new Texans content comes out. And Ryan, let's get into it here.
Let's do it.
I really like just overall what the Texans did this offseason. Both the Texans and the Panthers, almost kind of identical type strategies. And we're going to get into the Panthers video that should be coming out tomorrow after this video. But essentially, is you get your franchise quarterback, you got rid of some veteran pieces that were really, frankly, too good to be on this team with where you're at.
Specifically veteran wide receivers.
And to be fair, I think it was a fair for everyone involved, Brandon Cooks and then also DJ Moore, where don't want to be a part of rebuild. They're good enough talent to be on contending teams. Not saying that the Bears are a contending team, but I digress. But Brandon Cooks going to Dallas is a good situation. And then you come in and then you sign a lot of veteran players with experience, give your rookie just good veteran presence around him. And then you go and draft a lot of young offensive talent around him, offensive line talent as well, to help kind of rebuild this program to what it is. Because if you look at it, like there is potential on this team. Like they're probably a 4-win team this year, maybe 5, but there's some pieces that are there that are good. But we're not going to go through every addition and departure just because we've already done that video. But it's just kind of overall final review with the draft. But let's just start out offensively, kind of going back to what we were talking about here, like getting in a guy like Robert Woods, Dalton Schultz, Devin Singletary to help come back up, Dameon Pierce. Those are the guys that are going to help out. And especially, too, like Robert Woods and Dalton Schultz, this receiving room right now is not good. John Mechie should be coming back here. By last I checked, and that we've talked about, he is cleared from leukemia. And so, if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments so I can stay up to date. But then after that, your number one receiver is Nico Collins, who, I mean, maybe has some potential as like if he's the only guy, maybe be an 800-yard receiver if he can stay healthy. But getting guys like Tank Dell, Xavier Hutchinson immediately can come in and have a lot of opportunities to get a lot of reps, a lot of targets. Robert Woods is going to come in and be a consistent veteran piece. And then you also get Dalton Schultz as well to go along with the 4 other tight ends that are kind of on this team, just to kind of be an improvement, but also just a good veteran piece as well for CJ Stroud to throw to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like what they've done after offloading Brandon Cooks, bringing in Tank Dell. While Tank Dell isn't the speedster that Brandon Cooks is, I feel like they can play that similar style, like undersized X receiver role. And I actually really like the Xavier Hutchinson pick. I want to say they got him in the 6th round, and he was Mr. Consistent at Iowa State. And so I think
and also for viewers, that's where that 6 is next to the 23.
Yeah. So that is, to me, that's tremendous value there. I think he's a really solid slot receiver. Honestly, you look at those two and you're like, all right, Tank Dell's a slot. Xavier Hutchinson is the 6'3", 250-pound guy, but roles are reversed there. So I really like what they've done. I think kind of what you said, I think they're a 4 or 5-win team. I'm really excited to see this offense moving forward, especially with CJ Stroud. I think in 2024, they could be in a somewhat similar position to the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? They have some cap money going into the 2024 offseason. They could probably really build up this offense a little bit around CJ Stroud and then help him kind of keep progressing in the NFL. So I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point, too, compared to what Jacksonville did, because we were all kind of shocked. Like we were kind of thinking that it'd be the Colts or Titans that would take the AFC South. And, well, then also, frankly, too, it helps when you go on I think, a 6-game win streak like what Jacksonville did. But not only that, Trevor Lawrence took a huge step forward, and then they got receiving weapons in the offseason, like you said, bringing in Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram as well, and I'm sure a few others that I'm missing. So just taking those steps forward, taking those strides forward, and that's what they're really going to want to see with CJ Stroud here. And so, an offensive line as well. I mean, you got Laramie Tunsil, Titus Howard is a solid tackle combination. They have signed Shaq Mason. They didn't really give up anything for him. Kenyon Green can really only go up from last year. So it's if you want to look at it in the positives. And Juice Scruggs has a lot of potential as well. So it can come and compete for that center role. And worst case scenario, if Scott Quisenberry continues to be the guy, then I just mentioned Kenyon Green. So there's a lot of potential for him to start and improve this offensive line. So it's looking up. On the defensive side, obviously probably
wait. One more moment. So we talked a lot about the receivers that they added. We didn't really talk about Dalton Schultz that much. And to me, that's probably their biggest signing from free agency, because you look at what Dalton Schultz was able to do in Dallas. I think he brings a lot to the table, especially CJ Stroud did like the tight end group at Ohio State. So I think that's a really solid pickup there as well.
And that's a fair point. I might have to push back a little bit on the best offseason pickup, because then when you go to this defense here and you look at who their head coach is, bringing over Jimmy Ward, bringing over Sheldon Rankins, and then now you go and get Will Anderson. This defense is looking a hell of a lot better. Like, that's how much better it is. I swore. That's how much. We normally don't swear. This is a family-friendly show, but that is how much better this defense is already before like the first even preseason snap. Especially considering their linebacking core as well. Struggled a little bit, and similar to Kenyon Green's performance, they can really only go up. So I think improving that defensive front while also then focusing on the secondary as well by bringing in Jimmy Ward. Also then too, Derek Stingley Jr. was hurt a little bit last year. Couldn't really see all of what he could have done. Jalen Petrie was also a rookie as well. So there's a lot of youth in that secondary, and you bring over the guy who was the architect essentially of this great San Francisco defense. And there's a lot of potential coming out of Houston. So they're going to be a fun team to watch. This does, as we already mentioned, Jacksonville, it definitely gives me Jacksonville vibes when Trevor Lawrence was there. Detroit Lion vibes when they were still one-win team, but they were losing every game by like a field goal. So they're gonna be competitive this year. AFC South is way too tough for them to like make the playoffs, but it's possible that they're picking like deeper into the top 10 than we expect. They're not just like a lock top 3 pick next year.
They're picking at 8 instead of
potentially
like 3 or 4. No, well, actually, they won't be picking in the top 10
unless if Cleveland sucks.
That's true, right? Because they traded their
pick.
Which honestly, if they're picking at 8, I think that's worth it. So, what this defense is going to bring to the table, especially with DeMeco Ryans leading it, I think they're going to be much improved. You look at their schedule or their games from last year, and they did lose a lot of really close games. Even like the Eagles game, I think was a 1-score game. Maybe it was 2 scores by the very end, but for 3.5 quarters, that game was really close.
Yeah.
So
it was close enough to where people started to question are the Eagles really this good?
Yeah, exactly. Or did they just have an easy 9-game schedule? So, which I still make an argument that they did have a pretty easy 9-game schedule, but they just weren't that good. That they made that schedule look that easy. So, no, and I think a lot of this defense was built up in free agency. They did a really good job with that. And then adding Will Anderson is just like the cherry on top.
Yeah. That was the move of the draft. Like where you the epitome of going and getting your guy. I mean, as much as I love Jalen Carter going to the Eagles, it was like they just had to move up one spot, and it kind of was like writing on the wall, like when the Falcons passed up on him. But then when I think everyone had that same reaction, like Cardinals trading pick, we know which quarterback's being the Texans.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like it would have been even crazier if they took Anthony Richardson. You go CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson.
Well, that would have just been stupid. But
no, that's why it would have been whoa.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I really like what they've done on defense, and then again, like you said, they have that architect there at the very end, in DeMeco Ryans. So I like that. Not a whole lot to talk about on special teams as usual. You don't ever really want to be talking about these guys to begin with. So yeah. All in all, I think this offseason was really solid for the Houston Texans. I think if you look at where they were in 2022 and 2023, they should be much improved as a team. And with that being said, I still only think that they're a 5-win team. I think they go 5-12 next year, and then they're probably picking in. Well, they'll have a pick in the top 10 that will be going to the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, and that's why it's like it's all about perspective. Like if the Eagles were a 5-win team, that'd be a very disappointing season. But for the Texans, with this roster and the way they're improving, it's like that's a solid season. That is going in the right direction. So I think that's what they'd be looking for this year.
Yeah, no, definitely. But let's go ahead and wrap up the Houston Texans offseason recap there. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment down below on what you thought of the Texans offseason. What was your favorite addition? Was it a free agent? Was it a draftee? Let us know down below. Other than that, we will see you guys next time.